They kicked in my door at 5:47 a.m. like I was some wanted criminal. 5 HOA board members, 2 armed security guards, and the president herself, Eleanor Hargrove, stood there screaming that I was illegally occupying the lake. I'm Ethan Caldwell. 3 months earlier, I'd inherited my grandfather's old cabin on Willow Lake. They slapped me with a $4,800 back dock fee. Pay up or lose the place. Neighbors were hurting bad. 82-year-old Margaret Hayes was skipping her heart pills to cover the bills. Single mom Laura Bennett pulled double-night shifts at the hospital and still fell behind. Eleanor drove a new Mercedes every couple of years. Flash bracelets that cost more than most folks, made in a month, all bought with money that should have gone to fixing the docks. They got right in my face and yelled, "Who controls these docks?" I looked her square in the eye and answered calmly. The whole group froze. Guns lowered. Clipboards hit the floor. Dead silence. One sentence, and their whole racket started crumbling. What would you do if an HOA crew raided your house at dawn? Drop your state and your wildest HOA nightmare in the comments. I read them all, and the best ones get featured next time. 3 months earlier, I pulled up to what folks around here called Old Harlan's cabin. The weathered cedar place smelled like pipe tobacco and motor oil soaked into the floorboards for decades. Maps, surveys, and folders of yellowed papers covered every surface, stuff dating back to the 1800s. My mom always said Grandpa Harlan was a pack rat. Turns out he was the neighborhood's best-kept secret. I'm Ethan Caldwell, former Marine, recently laid off when the auto parts plant in town shut down. This cabin was supposed to be my fresh start. Instead, it turned into a battlefield. Day 1. I'm hauling trash when heels click across my dock like gunfire in the morning mist. Eleanor Hargrove, HOA president, steps up looking like she just walked out a country club catalog. Perfect hair, tailored jacket, clipboard like a shield. No handshake, no sorry about your loss. Straight to it. Your grandfather owed 15 years of dock fees. $4,800. Due Friday, or we seize the boat. I stared. Dock fees for what? Community waterfront management. $300 a month per household. Everyone pays. No exceptions. Here's something about HOAs most folks don't realize until it's too late. They can only charge for services they actually deliver. No maintenance, no fees. Simple. That's when I noticed Margaret watching from her kitchen window across the cove. Sweet lady who'd brought Grandpa soup when he was laid up. She looked scared. Over the next few weeks, I learned how Eleanor ran Willow Lake like her private fiefdom. Miss a payment? Late fees pile up. Question her. Harassment campaigns. Board meetings were her stage. Every decision lined her real estate pockets. Laura worked doubles just to pay. Her teenage son Tyler told me she cried over the bills. They couldn't move, X wasn't paying support, and this was all they could afford. Margaret was worse. Fixed income, heart condition, choosing between pills and assessments. I'd see her on her dock staring at the water like she was saying goodbye. Meanwhile, Eleanor flaunted new jewelry at every meeting, posted European trips on Facebook while folks here skipped meals. Watching her parade stolen money while old-timers ration groceries felt like watching someone kick puppies for fun. Where's all this fee money going? I asked at my first board meeting. Maintenance and improvements, she snapped. The community pier, insurance, admin costs. I'd walked every inch of shoreline. The pier was rotting. No improvements anywhere. Splintered planks told the truth. Zero maintenance despite collecting over 70 grand a year. 6 weeks in, she escalated. Anonymous complaints to the county about my unsafe structure. Suddenly, I needed permits for dock repairs, boat storage, even window washing. Each one cost hundreds, rubber stamped by Eleanor's real estate buddy. Week 10, personal attacks, newsletter pieces about undesirable elements, photos of my pickup labeled an eyesore. Her SUV circled the lake at dawn every morning, hunting violations. That diesel smell became the scent of trouble coming. By month 3, I understood Grandpa's obsession with those documents. He wasn't hoarding, he was building a case. Every deed, survey, historical record cross-referenced. Buried in there, something about water rights and original land grants that made my pulse race. Eleanor must have sensed I was closing in because she called an emergency meeting about my violations. That's why the crew showed up at dawn with guns. Big mistake. The week after our first run-in, Eleanor sent the county inspector. Rudy Harlan, no relation, rolled up looking miserable. Grandpa's fishing buddy for 20 years. He poked at solid beams half-heartedly. New standards, he muttered. I asked about his marine structural certification. He froze. State law requires it for waterfront inspections. Color drained from his face. Eleanor peeled out in her Mercedes before he could finish packing. Rudy left spraying gravel. That afternoon, I dug deeper into Grandpa's files. Hand-drawn lake bottom maps, 1890 surveys, notes in his careful handwriting. Original dam built 1892. Creek rights purchased. Check courthouse. He was methodical, preparing for war. Tyler stopped by that evening. Sharp kid, 16, computer wizard. Helped his mom with paperwork since middle school. Mom wanted to thank you for today. Word spreading about the inspector. His face fell when I asked about the fees. She's skipping meals to save money. I asked if he'd help research old property records. His eyes lit up. Like detective work? Exactly. That night, organizing files, I felt Grandpa had been training me for this my whole life. Every lesson about standing up to bullies, reading the land. Eleanor thought she was dealing with an unemployed vet who'd fold. She was about to learn Marines don't back down. We reload. By week 8, she'd gone full intimidation. 2 security guards patrolled at dawn, boots thumping, cameras rolling. Community safety patrol, she announced. No incidents, just control. They followed Margaret to her mailbox, parked outside Laura's when she left for work. Camera clicks became the new lake soundtrack. Then the local paper hit. Squatter threatens property values. Anonymous sources detailed my military record, unemployment, questions about finances. Lies only someone close could know. Tyler showed me his laptop. Look at this. Property records showed foreclosures, 4 sales around the lake over 15 years. All families behind on fees. Eleanor bought cheap through shell companies, flipped for triple. 6 houses gone. Then the bombshell, emails with Willow Shores Development Corporation. They specialized in luxury resorts. Consulting fees of $50,000 per acquisition. She wasn't just collecting fees, she was clearing land for a corporate takeover. Grandpa's files had a backup database. Thanks to his old Historical Society credentials, I requested missing records. She'd buried evidence. Instead, she handed me the rope. Week 12. My dock vandalized overnight. Cables cut. Railings loosened. Unsafe structure spray-painted in red. Flyers in every mailbox. Dangerous veteran threatens safety. Grainy photo of me through my window. Character assassination to isolate me. Laura showed up furious, flyer in hand. This is garbage. Tyler says you're the only one who helped him with math at 10 p.m. Tyler added, your grandfather had a safety deposit box. Bank called. Box 847 at Willow First National. The bank manager led us to the vault, hands shaking. Your grandfather was specific. If property disputes arose with the HOA, call his heir. Inside, original deeds, water rights transfers, century-old papers. The killer, 1892 dam agreement reversion clause. If commercial power generation ceased, riparian rights and lakebed ownership reverted to the Caldwell line. Dam stopped generating in 1978. Grandpa bought additional rights from 3 original families in 1987. Cash deals, recorded but buried. Every dock post, every HOA structure sat on Caldwell property. Eleanor ran a 15-year protection racket on someone else's land. A sealed envelope from Grandpa. Ethan, I bought these rights to protect neighbors from vultures. Use wisely. The lake belongs to the community in spirit, but someone must guard it. Make me proud. Tyler crunched numbers. 15 years, 37 households. Over 800,000 stolen. We built the case like a military op. Margaret brought 15 years of documentation. Recordings, letters, proof of retaliation. Laura cataloged medical crises from fee stress. Heart attacks delayed, insulin rationed. Tyler created digital presentations, maps, flowcharts, timelines. We planned the HOA meeting, live stream, multiple cameras, invite media, former residents driven out. Days before, Eleanor struck desperate. Sheriff's cruisers in my driveway at dawn. Restraining order signed by Judge Harlan, her golf buddy. Escort you off pending ownership dispute. Deputy looked ashamed. This stinks. But Tyler had live-streamed it. Social media exploded. Willow Lake scam trending. Videos of Eleanor's threats, financial charts, Margaret's testimony. 60,000 shares fast. CNN picked it up. Eleanor called begging settlement. I countered. Full restitution, resignation, public confession. She threatened powerful people. I reminded her she picked a fight with the lake's legal owner. Then arson. My dock in flames hours before the meeting. Tyler's hidden cameras caught her guards pouring accelerant. Uploaded everywhere. Fire chief, her brother-in-law, called it faulty wiring. Leaked email showed crisis firm hired for smears. Community center packed that night. Media trucks, overflow crowd. Eleanor at the front, lawyers flanking, shaking. She called order, baseless allegations from a disgruntled squatter. I stood. I held up the 1892 deed. Room erupted. Tyler projected documents. Purchases, stamps, financials. $800,000 stolen. Margaret stood. I watched Harlan research this for 20 years. He knew what you were doing. Reporter stood. How do you respond to coordination with Willow Shores Development for resident displacement? Emails flashed. Outrage boiled over. I finished. You asked who controls the docks. The community does. And starting today, that's how it'll work. State investigators stepped forward. Fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Handcuffs clicked. Applause shook the rafters. 3 months later, Willow Lake was reborn. Dock rebuilt. Everyone around the lake, funded by recovered money, managed by a real elected board. I donated rights to a community trust with conservation easements. Fees dropped to $30 for actual maintenance. Margaret afforded her meds. Laura worked normal shifts. Eleanor pleaded guilty. 5 years, restitution. Co-conspirators faced federal charges. Judge retired amid ethics probes. We started the Harlan Caldwell Memorial Scholarship for Environmental Studies. Tyler got the first one, heading to Michigan State for law, planning to protect the lake. Saturday mornings, healing sessions on the pier for vets with PTSD. Water lapping, stories shared. Laura launched digital literacy classes for seniors against scams. We digitized Grandpa's records, public database preventing future fraud. Ripple effects, state laws tightened HOA oversight. Our case became a model. Other communities reached out. The cabin's now an unofficial gathering spot. Potlucks, meetings, neighbors knowing names again. Last week, folks from a neighboring county called. Their HOA demanding huge assessments, threatening seizures. Same pattern. We'll share what we learned. This wasn't luck. It was homework while bullies made threats. Knowledge is power. Preparation wins. If you've faced HOA overreach, share your story below. What's the most outrageous thing they've pulled on you? Especially, when does standing up cross into something darker? Where do you draw the line between justice and revenge? Drop your thoughts on power, fairness, and how far you'd go against injustice. I read every one. Let's talk.